I want to talk about something you may not have thought about. A lot of times when there is an emergency or a supply chain shortage or something happens where people start thinking, oh, I need to be a little more self-sufficient. One of the first things that you cannot find in the store anymore are seeds. We saw this happen whenever we had the pandemic a few years ago, and when we had the supply chain problems that came after it. People started thinking, ooh, I don't know what's going to happen. I need to be more self-sufficient. They went to the store. They couldn't find seeds anywhere. So today I want to get you thinking a little differently, and I'm going to tell you some things that you can actually grow in your yard or in your garden that you can find in your average grocery store. So if you go to the garden center and there's no seeds on the shelf, you don't have to just not have a garden. You can actually go and get your seeds somewhere else where people aren't actually thinking about it. Like, for example, bird seed section, or livestock section in your grocery store. When you go to your grain aisles, one of the greatest ways that you can find whole seeds in a grocery store is through whole grains. Any undamaged grain like brown rice, wheat berries, popcorn can be planted. Quinoa, any kind of grain that is still in its whole form, that means the bran hasn't been removed or anything, you can soak it and grow it. It will grow. Beans, lentils, peas, anything like that, as long as it's not split. You don't want split peas, you want whole seed. So beans that are dried, lentils, peas, all of those things can be grown in your garden. Helps if you soak them for a little bit first. Peanuts, if they're not roasted, they're not damaged, you can grow them even though you bought them in a grocery store. Any root plant like potatoes, sweet potatoes, ginger, turmeric. Now, in a grocery store, they do typically put a little retardant on it, a little chemical that's supposed to keep it from producing those eyes, which is what you need for it to grow. But if you wash it off and then put it in a dark place, it's going to grow anyway. I mean, we've all had potatoes grow eyes in our pantry, right? Well, that's it starting to put off shoots. And that's what you need it to grow roots. So you can grow potatoes, sweet potatoes, anything from root plants that you buy in the store. When it comes to things like, for example, carrots, beets, celery, turnips, all of those things can be planted directly into the ground as they are. Once you buy them from the store, they will begin to root and they will grow, and you can let them go until they come to what's called the bolting stage. I have other videos on how to harvest seed from plants. I have one specifically on how to harvest seed from bolting plants. But once these plants bolt, you can then harvest seed from them so that you will have some seed to plant in a larger crop in the next season. Green onions are a great thing to replant from the grocery store. You can cut the tops off and actually use the green tops and just replant the little bulb, and it will grow new plants. Some green onions are actually what are called bunching onions, and they'll actually bunch out. And the great thing about green onions is all winter long, as they're growing, you can do just like grass. The green parts will grow up. You can cut it back down to within an inch of the ground, harvest those greens, use them in your food, and the green will continuously regrow just like grass. And you can keep harvesting those greens from them continually until the end of the season, when you harvest the whole thing and then save some of the bulb for seed for the next year. You can plant onions and you can plant garlic from the store as well. Now, of course, when you have the opportunity to buy, for example, seed potato or seed onions, they're going to be better. You're going to have a better germination rate. They're going to produce a more desirable product, and you're going to have a better return rate on it. But again, we're talking about what to do in a pinch. What can you find at the grocery store that you can plant in your yard if you don't have access to seeds? Where we buy our seeds at locally, during the supply chain breakdown that we had a few years ago, their seeds were coming in on trucks from California, and the ports had been blocked up and everything was stuck in containers for quite a while, and they did not get any seed for a very long time. And people started asking me different things that they could grow that they couldn't get from the seed store. And so I started thinking about this recently. So I thought, well, let's do a video where we talk about a few things. And of course, I'm not going to think of everything. So if you think of something that we have not mentioned in this video, put it in the comments for others to read and to put it in their memory bank in case they need. So in a pinch, you can actually take the seeds from anything in the grocery store that produces seeds, like melons, peppers, okra, avocado, pumpkin, squash, tomatoes. Now, yes, some of these may be hybrids, but if you're in a pinch where you can't get any seed, then it's probably pretty desperate, and it doesn't matter if it's a hybrid, because the thing is this: hybrid does not mean that it won't produce in the next season. It just means that you're not real sure what it will produce. We have a little series on collecting and saving your own seed, and you might want to go and watch that because I explain in depth what hybrid really means. So what you don't want is GMO, but hybrid is okay. It's better to have heirloom, but if all you can get is hybrid, you can grow it and you can regrow it and you can collect seed from it. You're just going to have to collect what the plant that does best in your area, and after 1 or 2 plantings, a few seasons, you'll have a product that grows well in your area, and then you'll know what you have. It's kind of like this. If you have, the example I gave in the other video was that if you have a lab and you breed it to a cur, which are 2 different breeds of dog, it's going to produce a puppy, and you may love the traits of that puppy. So you keep breeding labs and curs because that's the trait you want. That's what a hybrid plant is. It's 2 different varieties bred together to give you a desirable trait. But that puppy may have puppies that tend to be more like the lab or more like the cur, and you're not sure which one it's going to be. That's why people don't replant hybrid seeds, because you're not sure if it's going to be more like the mother plant or more like the daddy plant. So in order to know exactly what you're going to get, you just reorder the seed, which is exactly, the lab and the cur mix. So, but again, in a pinch, it don't matter what puppy you get, as long as you get a puppy from it, right? So yes, in the store, even if it's a hybrid plant, you can still harvest seed from it and you can still grow it. So another place that you can look in the grocery store that you might not think of is the spice aisle, because a lot of spices come from whole seeds. For example, you can often get dill seed on the spice aisle, caraway seed, coriander, sesame seeds, whole black pepper seeds. These are all things that you can plant. And of course, let's not forget the pet department. My brother actually replanted bird seed before and got all kinds of great things from it. You can also find what's called chicken scratch feed, which is just a combination of oats and seeds. So from these things, you can actually find whole viable seeds that you can plant that will produce corn, oat, wheat, barley, sorghum, milo, millet, sunflower seeds, all kinds of things that are in these bird feeds and chicken scratch feeds. So if you find yourself in a pinch, if you find a problem with the supply chain or a seed shortage, that doesn't mean you can't grow a garden. You can run to the grocery store and whatever is still on the shelf, you can grab and go plant it and grow it yourself.